Good evening.
Hey, hello, and good evening to you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am ready to start a whole new chapter. How about you?
Absolutely.
I'm pretty excited, I'm not going to lie. Glad to be continuing on this journey with you and, of course, with everybody watching after the fact. Hello, welcome. This is the Great Campaigns of the American Civil War, and we are starting a whole new title tonight. And, man, I've just been going through the rules and just super duper excited. And, of course, this has got me reading Wily Sword and trying to read in general about what's going on. I don't want to get into the specifics, so when I start approaching what these scenarios will be doing, I stop because I don't want to read the historical account until we're closer. After we've done it, I want to see how I did. I don't want to be influenced by. But how are things?
They're good. They're good. Yeah, this is when you say new, this is like new in every sense of the word,
It is.
isn't it?
It is brand spanking new. Now we, of course, through the generosity as Tennessee Williams says, I've always depended on the kindness of not strangers in this case, but we have a huge thanks, just as we did before with our On to Richmond treatment. We want to extend a hearty thank you to all the good people at Multiman Publishing, of course, and to Messrs. Ed Beach, Chris Withers, and last but certainly not least, Mr. Joe Balkowski for the very generous use of this playtest Vassal module so that we can go through these. And we are at the point where literally, we're just weeks away from the release. So as you're watching this, final preparations for shipping. Hopefully not through the Suez. Now, of course, I'm dating this, but
Well,
no, they print all those things in America, so they should not be beholden to those shipping woes. But yeah, we are here in spring of 2021, and this is right on the horizon of being in your hands. So we are excited to bring you this basic scenario playthrough and maybe more. We'll see as we get down the road a bit. Roger had expressed an interest in 1864, so we have kind of jumped out of our timeline here, and we've forwarded the war a little bit. And this is our first opportunity both to experience the scenario from the Hood Strikes North Nashville Campaign of late 1864. And I got to tell you that some of these scenarios look fantastic, and I know you've looked through them too as we prepare for this. So there's just some really neat stuff that we've not encountered before.
yeah, I think this again, just an amazing job of the research, putting it together, and I'm sure the playing is going to be fun.
Oh,
And
yes.
and it and this is an area of the country I'm in East Tennessee, so I've been over here in Middle Tennessee quite often. It's a little weird getting used to Nashville being to the right, but other than
Right,
that,
exactly. So you would be down towards the bottom of the map if I've got my brain
correct.
oriented correctly. Good. Okay.
Yep, a couple hours to the bottom.
Well, I also certainly do not want to leave out the person who made this Vassal module available to us and who has done all of the heavy lifting on it. There's actually two people. The first person who got this up and running, I guess, for the early playtesting is Justin Rice. So thank you, Justin, for getting it going. And of course, this beautiful Charlie Kibler map is certainly not to be overlooked. But Alberto Romero is our Spaniard Vassal designer extraordinaire, and he has put this together for us. And literally, whenever I point out some stuff, he, within an hour, has made updates and he's sent me a new module. So I think as you and I find things moving forward, we can expect that kind of customer service. So thank you again, Alberto, for all the hard work.
And I want to chime in to thank them and thank all the people from MMP who've given me the opportunity to get this such an early look at this. This is so fantastic.
Yeah, we are blessed in so many ways, but the timing just could not be better. Most everybody has had this on pre-order, either standalone or as part of a Stonewall Jackson's Way 2 reprint, or even just getting upgraded counters. Again, all of that is soon to be in your hot little hands, and we are excited to sort of be our first look. This is like the pre-unboxing, I guess. I don't know if that's what you
Hmm.
go for. What we're going to do here, as we do whenever we start a new title, is we'll reintroduce ourselves to you. So if you've not gone back to any of the last year of material, feel free at your leisure to go back, and we would certainly invite you to see all those. And but if you're jumping on first time here, then you get a chance to meet myself and Roger, and we'll tell you a little bit about ourselves and our gaming history. And then after that, we will go through the some of the initial changes, things that we can get used to being in a later war scenario, and some that are specific to this module. So, Roger, I'm going to let you take the point on this one first, and set us off and tell everybody all about you. This is your life.
Well, I don't consider myself a gamer by any stretch of the imagination. Though my dad taught me to play chess, I cannot remember not remembering how to play chess. So he must have taught me very young. And it was probably when I was 10, 11, I saw Africa Core, which I think now is considered a classic Avalon Hill game in a five and dime store. I grew up in rural Iowa. I was also a history buff at the age of 10, weird kid, and wanted it. And for Christmas, and I got it for Christmas. And I played my youngest, oldest brother, who was 6 years older, and had a great time. Got beat usually because I was too young really to play the game. And a couple years after that, I don't really remember the circumstances. I got Rick Tofen's War, which again I guess is considered another classic Avalon Hill World War One game. And that's why I played it in high school, and then went to college, and I went to win Dungeons and Dragons, and did not get into it, and really didn't do much gaming. As a bachelor, I walked into a game store here locally and bought the Civil War by Victory Games, which again I guess considered a classic. That was sort of my bachelor game. I'd set that up and play, and then got married, and that became my game I took on when we go to the beach for a week or two, and I'd set that up and play. And then one year I forgot it. When we were just a little south of Charleston, I went to a game store and to get something to do, and I bought the Great Campaigns Roads to Gettysburg, the original Roads to Gettysburg, and that became my holiday game. And a couple years after that, my wife bought me Stonewall Jackson's Way, the original, and I kind of alternate. And we got out of being able to go to the beach for multiple reasons, and got away completely. And I ran into one of your videos. Probably was watching a Civil War, because that's really where my interest lies these days, history wise. By far, it's the biggest number of books on my bookshelf. And watch your tutorial videos. If you haven't watched Patrick's tutorial videos, do that. It'll really clarify how to play. And I set up my games and played them. Bought a couple of the ones I didn't have used, like the Here Come the Rebels originally, and posted on Facebook saying, would somebody teach me how to use Vassal, because I kind of understand it but not really. And you said yes, I'll teach you. And as you mentioned, we are closing in on our 1 year anniversary of doing this, and it's been a hoot. I've really enjoyed it. And for me, this series, like I said, history and the Civil War in particular is my interest, and this game has really helped provide some understanding of the difficulties of some historical characters that really get maligned. I have a little more sympathy for people like John Pope and George McClellan. It's not as easy as, a historian will say, well, why didn't they just march from point A to point B? It's hard to do, even when you have a beautiful map and you know exactly where everybody is. It's not that easy. And I realize it's a game, but I think it abstracts things very well. So I just want to thank you, Patrick, for allowing me to do this with you for this last year. And like I said, I think next week will be our official 1 year anniversary. So
I think so. I was trying to nail down exactly what our starting date was. I knew it was in March, late March, or early April. But it's certainly been my pleasure to bring you along, and to watch you get better and better and better. And this
I was pretty bad at the beginning.
well,
when you only play yourself,
exactly.
You think you're great.
There's a huge difference between solo play and opponent play. You got.
What are you doing?
Right.
You can't do that. Oh yes, you can.
Well, I'm glad to have you here. I think I can echo. I think Roger and I only have just a few years between us in age, but many of those bullet points are exactly the same. I started gaming with the neighborhood kids, and one of them had brought out a copy of an Avalon Hill game. It was one of the fantasy games there in the early '80s. believe it was Dragon Hunt. Still holds a place in my heart. It's looking to my right, it is on my shelf now. And so Avalon Hill was sort of my first one, but it wasn't the war games. I think it was everything else. It was Source of the Nile. It was Civilization. It was, all the other sort of games that they put out in their line that were not directly combat related. And it wasn't until well into college that you do that. You go off to college and your gaming and your hobbies kind of take a backseat until you get established, and once you get that disposable income and you settle down, and this story kind of writes itself. But same thing, in the early 2000s, I was on Board Game Geek and getting back into gaming proper. And I found a local group, and I was discovering Euro games, and it was kind of reigniting my passion for gaming. And now you've got some disposable income, so I'm on a quest now with eBay to gather those Avalon Hill titles that I always knew and wanted to play, or just never had the dough for. So started perhaps going on a overambitious buying spree. That happens.
Oh.
And then you settle in and you go, well, decisions need to be made. So that's exactly like Roger. I've got a passion for the American Civil War period. I had considered a minor in history in college, and I was fortunate enough to have an American Civil War class with one of the preeminent scholars, Professor Jim Jones, who sadly just passed away last year. But he was amazing, and I took a series of seminars and classes where we'd meet at his house and drink alcohol and read scholarly articles about historical research on the American Civil War. So that was my starting point. And then when I realized that I could game, and there are all these different levels of gaming, from tactical to operational to strategic, it was kid in a candy store, so everything from For the People all the way trying my hand at Terrible Swift Sword and trying to find, do I like tactical, do I like grand strategic, and then boom, there was Great Campaigns of the American Civil War in the late 2000s. I said, hey, this rule book looks daunting, but I really need to dive in. And sure enough, I jumped in feet first, and I figured the way to learn it was to get into a tournament, which seems crazy now when I look back on it, but I did okay. I had a great time, met some really cool people, and I have not looked back since then. And as Roger alluded to, 7 or 8 years ago, I just, for a lark, I had access to Screencast-O-Matic, which is what I still use here, and I said, I should record some stuff from the instructions and just try to go through. There's some really great resources online, but nothing in a video format, and that's kind of how I learn things. So one led to another, and I kind of broke things down with a list of things and put it out. And all these years later, I'm still getting feedback on it, and when I see on YouTube analytics that it's still getting lots and lots of views and great feedback, I kind of want to, they look a little rusty to me now, so I kind of want to go back and redo them with some of the new information at my disposal and some of the newer technology and things I could do differently. But that's a project for another day. This project is kind of my focus right now. But this is just one of many different time periods that we offer here on the channel. I do Ancients, I do World War II, Combat Commander. Those are my other 2 series that I'm going through and having a great time with. So we're glad to have you here, and we encourage you. We'll do this at the end, of course, but like and subscribe to the channel, and you'll see all these things as we put them out. We try to put them out each and every week, and however long it takes to edit or however long we go. But fortunately, most of these in this title are modest. I'm going to call them modest. They're anywhere from 1 to 4 turns per scenario. I think there's a 7 turn in there, and I think that's going to keep us busy for the next 4 months. And then we had talked about potentially doing the campaign for this, and I think we could probably accommodate that as well. So I'm very, very excited, if you weren't already aware of that, about where this is going. So transitioning then, let's take a look at what we've got here tonight with Hood Strikes North. This is a 1-map game. Now, there has, Multiman Publishing realizes that with some of the reprints that they do, they like to intersperse them with new content. And over the last few years, this has been play tested by Joe Balakowski and Ed Beach and Chris Withers, and it is now obviously about to be in your hands. And the goal here is to make this an approachable title, meaning that some of the feedback they got from Atlanta is Ours and some of the much more robust content that have incredibly detailed campaign games, that they wanted something that will still bring in some new players, and that is what we hope to accommodate with this tonight. Is scenario number one. It's called, ironically, "Here Come the Rebels," which is a title from otherwares in the series. But this is a one-turn scenario tonight that we're going to do. It is short enough, I think, because it is one turn, that it's mostly cavalry and reaction, and I think we can play both of these back to back. So we're hoping in one fell swoop tonight you're going to see scenario number one back to back. I will start as the Union for game one, and then Roger will take the Union for game two. And usually, if you've not watched any of these videos before, what we'll do is, I'll read the little set piece opening, and then we'll talk about the specialty rules for this scenario. Tonight, we're going to do, in addition to that, we're going to, since we are now coming back off of two modules where there were so many limitations on, actually three, if you count All Grain Alike and Stonewall in the Valley, that handle you with certain rules that kind of reflect the time period of that point in the war. So tonight, I think this is our first full-blown where we're kind of back to the rules as written, and with 1864 they expand some of the capabilities that will make for an incredibly rich defensive possibilities for the player. So before I go into all that, is there anything that you want to point out, Roger, about this from your observations so far?
Well, I guess what jumped out at me for this title was Forrest is unique to me as a leader, that he can activate an infantry, two infantry brigades, or one infantry division when he does an assault. Now, it's not going to come into play tonight because it's just Cav tonight. But that kind of jumped out at me, and that's something that I think I'm probably going to forget.
Absolutely. And yeah, I was the same way. I kind of went through the right at the beginning of the basic rules. They say, okay, look, you're in Tennessee now, son. So here's what you got to do to pay attention to this stuff. Likewise, I have that kind of thing going on with Schofield, who is from the Army of the Ohio, but he's a district leader, wink, not an army leader, which means he has some capabilities with the 23rd and the 4th Corps, but we'll talk about that as that comes in. But because he's a district leader, he can do regular assaults, as we've seen in Stonewall in the Valley, and he can also initiate grand assaults. So he serves two purposes there. Well, then let's do this official like. First, I'm going to talk about where we are. I'm pulling up the rules, version 1.4 here. Really, the biggest difference tonight for the action cycle is the addition now in 1864 of entrenchment as an action. So up to this point, all the titles that we played, entrenchment only occurs during the recovery phase. So if you've never played Grant Takes Command or Atlanta is Ours, 1864 is going to be a bit of a new beast for you. So one of the considerations you have is the ability to either march to a location, and then in subsequent activations, rather than marching, you can entrench as an action, and then you will incrementally dig deeper, I guess, or add to whatever the entrenchment is. So I'm looking at the entrenchment rules at 5.5. That is something you definitely want to take a look at here before you play this one. And specifically the 1864 procedure here, which is more or less, because 1863 is an optional, 1864 titles are the first one that actually let you do this. And essentially it's just building the hierarchy. So if you are in a hex and you've got no entrenchments, as an action, boom, you can add an abattis, right? And an abattis is a 1.5. And then if you already have that, you can entrench again and take that up to a breastwork build. And then if breastwork build is there, then you can go once again to get it to breastwork. So it's just, slowly, and you could spend all 4 of your fatigues in one day just digging if you wanted to. So there are pluses and minuses depending on what your defensive situation and needs are at that time. So that adds a whole new tool in the toolkit that we always allude to. If you're potentially going to get surrounded by enemy units, you might want to start digging in as an action. If you can wait, if you're behind a river or something and you can wait until the end during the recovery phase, then you may be better suited to wait during recovery if you're at fatigue level 0. But again, once you start moving, now you have the capability of at least getting some temporary defensive works where you are. So that's the big difference here with this 1864 title. I'm also going to just show the back of the book here, where it gives you the little matrix box there. You can see all of them from 1861 to 1864. I have a feeling this will again be expanded to 1865 when we get the Petersburg stuff in there, and I can imagine there's going to be a whole lot of possibilities with that. But you can see there the structure of what the abattis gives you versus breastworks versus forts. Okay. The other big factor here is I'm pulling up hopefully it is here in the charts for movement. Let's do the movement. Yeah, here we are. So we got the movement set up here, and we're back to normal. Hooray! So Union forces will be infantry will be a 1d6, and infantry leaders on the Union side will give them a d6 plus 1. So they're back to getting a modifier for that. The Union or the Confederates will get the d6 plus 1 for their infantry or artillery, and with their leaders will give them a d6 plus 2. And then for cavalry, it's the same, d6 plus 1 for the Confederates, d6 plus 2 for divisional cavalry leaders, and the corps leaders, which is like Stuart or Joe Wheeler in this case, that's a d6 plus 3. So we don't have to belabor the unfortunate nature of the slows that we've dealt with when marching up and down the peninsula. There's a little more freedom now. The armies want to move, and I think that will be a big factor here. I think were there anything else from the basic rules that you think I needed to cover tonight as far as this one goes? I think some of them will roll out later.
I think those are the two big ones.
Right.
And the entrenchments for me is, I've soloed, and I did play one Grant Takes Command in a group setting, but entrenching to me on the march is still going to be kind of new.
Especially for the factor that it's a boon for cavalry too, because it's yes, you are expending a fatigue doing it, but if your cavalry is 3 or 4 and you get a 1.5 on there, and you're behind a river, that's no small potatoes, so definitely worth the consideration. Well, let me give you the official published historical information here, and then we will talk about the scenario-specific notes, and then we will get underway because we're approaching a half hour here. So get all of this administrivia out of the way, right? Okay, so this is called Here Come the Rebels, scenario number 1 from Hood Strikes North. This scenario covers the opening of the campaign when Confederate cavalry attempted to capture Columbia, which you see here at 1715, or block the Union infantry column from reaching the town. This quick scenario is ideal for new players to learn the game, either solitaire or with an opponent, as we're doing tonight. There are only a few units for each side, and there are minimal special rules. That's also good. Also, many standard rules sections are not required for this scenario, such as recovery, because once turn 1 ends, the action cycle ends, the game is over. So our special rules tonight. Roger, as the Confederates for game 1, will automatically win the first initiative. No die roll. He'll just get 1 free movement. And then after that, we will roll normally. In this particular scenario, he will still win all ties. So in some of the other Western titles and some of the advanced games, you have the capability of that either being different or fluctuating depending on how the game shakes out. Special rule number 3, Hatch. I've got Hatch down somewhere. Oh, there he is. He can also control Croxton's cavalry, which is right down there near him, even though Croxton doesn't officially belong to him. So I can use an activate leader to activate him as well. Way over in Nashville, and this was the first one before I even read the special rules. Way over in Nashville is Oh More. The first time I activate him, I can actually essentially move him by rail. I can move him up to 43 hexes along the rail line. I will get 2 fatigues if I go the full 43 hexes for that. However, I can never enter an enemy Zoc during the movement unless I'm already in there with my Union as sort of a friendly bridge. So that is something that Roger can consider about getting up there near Columbia with his cavalry and cutting that rail line. And then finally, the last special rule for this one is my only movement restrictions as the Union is this box that's right here on columns 1 and 2 that comes all the way down to 0120 and 0220. Essentially, the Union cannot go into that box, so they cannot molest the cavalry there inside that area. That's their protected area. If for whatever reason I am forced to go into there, that would be an elimination for me. So I have to be careful of that as well. That's it. That's all there is to it. The victory conditions tonight are very straightforward. We've got these 2 blue circles here, one on Columbia and one on Fort Misner. The Columbia one is worth 12 victory points to the Confederates if they occupy it. So with cavalry normally in most games cannot capture objectives, but in this one it's an occupy. So as long as he's got one of his units on Columbia, that's worth 12 victory points at the end of the game. And it's got to be undemoralized. That's important. If he's got one in Fort Misner, that is worth 6 victory points. And then for each one of my division, my infantry units, so all the infantry units down here along the Pike and Schofield, for each one of them that are not within 3 hexes, oh boy, 3 hexes of Columbia, or if they are destroyed, that also counts against me. And that includes Ruger and Moore, so Ruger, who is on Columbia, and Moore, who's over in Nashville. If they are not within 3 hexes of Columbia, then Roger gets 3 victory points for each individual unit that does not meet that criteria. So there's some hard marching there as quickly as I can get. For every Confederate cavalry brigade that is to the we're gonna say north, but it's to the right of the Duck River here. So everybody that's crossed over the Duck River, we'll say it that way, rounding up, they get 1/2 a victory point. So and it's in Roger's favor. So if he gets 3 of them in there, that would be considered 2 victory points rather than 1.5. So all he has to do is, short of getting into Columbia or Fort Misner, he wants to advance his units past the Duck River. And as we see in most of the Western titles, there's now a disparity between the manpower loss value. As we got later in the war, the Confederates, manpower losses become a premium. So in this situation, each manpower loss that the Confederate inflicts will get him 2 victory points per manpower. For me, as the Union, each manpower loss that Roger takes is -3 victory points. So it is a 1 in my favor for attacking his units. And that, of course, goes in retreats and cavalry retreats. So that makes some of these cavalry retreats very literally dicey affairs. But it is not extended or force marching as per usual. And the victory point schedule says that Roger, for a Confederate marginal victory, needs to get anywhere from 9 to 11 victory points tonight. So that is our scenario. Give me your opening thoughts on this one.
Well, as we've talked about these one-turn scenarios, it's I was looking at this earlier today, and I think the Confederates have a tough row to hoe here in my mind. Maybe I'm missing something. But if you get initiatives and good marching, it's going to be really hard.
That is true.
So I hope I get initiatives and you roll ones for movement, and
And good
and
luck to
and,
you,
and I
sir.
actually think that's a pretty good chance.
That's right. That is right. It is my dice rolling here.
So despite the fact, I have to get the victory points. It's kind of up to you to take the victory points away. So again, it's one of those interesting scenarios where it looks like the person who's on the offense is really not necessarily on the offense.
Right. Well,
And but the one thing I can't do is get in a stand-up fight because, as you pointed out, I think you got a 5-1 superiority in
oh
numbers, and
yeah. I mean, they're slow, but they're powerful, right?
mhm.
And you just hit on exactly the point that Peter and I discover, especially when we play those commands and colors scenarios back to back. Um, I think when you do that and you have the benefit of seeing what the person did immediately before you switch sides, there is definitely an influencing factor on that. So I'm curious how different, and you always point out how differently our games go from week to week, but how different these will be just tonight when we see, because there are it's not going to necessarily be a stand-up fight, and I think if you have any designs on one of those two victory point locations, it's got to be a perfectly set up flank. It's got to be, you got to catch Ruger off guard, and the rest of the infantry is. But then you got to hold it, right? So
Yeah, with all those, yeah, that's what I'm
exactly.
saying. If you roll ones, you kill. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, it's
But you've got, I see by your count, you've got one, two, three, four, five. You've got six brigades. So if you got all of them across the Duck River, that's 3 points right there. And then if you could do
yeah,
some manpower losses on me, by some nice flanks or against my cavalry, you're getting closer too. So you've got a wide variety of possibilities as per usual. I think that's all there is to say about it. I mean, let's get to it, right?
yes.
Okay. I'm not going to do any leader transfers. Would you like to do any leader transfers?
I first, good luck to you, sir,
Oh, of
tonight.
course. Good luck.
Um, I've been changing my mind, looking at the situation, and I am gonna move Forrest.
Move Forrest Gump.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, he can get down to Butte.
Okay. Well, that
And,
certainly gives you a lot of movement capability.
yeah, that's kind of, I want to see kind of how this works. And I think I get the
You
first
do. You're
initiative,
the
I
first
believe.
free one.
So now that Forrest is down there, I can activate all four of his, well, both divisions, all four brigades. So problem is they're already at fatigue 1. That's disappointing.
That's hard marching from Alabama, right?
Here we go. 2 dice plus 3 for Forrest. And I get so I'm going to move Jackson's division first. 1, 2.
I think you can get one more if you had taken a left turn at Southport.
Hope you're right. I would like to go up there. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
I really wanted a slightly larger die roll. I think going into woods is what?
It is a 6, I believe.
6. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to stop there. Because if I wanted to attack, I would have had to have gone with just one brigade
That's right.
and then
Yeah.
do my attack.
Right.
And that's my first turn. So here's the initiative. And it's yours.
All right. Well, I don't have
And
to.
we don't have to keep track of
I don't have to
sixes
keep
and fives.
track of that. That is right. Well,
For those of you who don't know on Richmond, you have to keep track of how what die roll the union gets.
I think Mr. Stanley is going to activate the entirety of the fourth corps there and get them moving. Here's their movement. Oh, Union!
There we go.
All right, so we'll go 1, 2. That's great.
Yep, now you're moving.
We go 1, 2, and they'll just follow behind, and everyone's happy. Initiative. Here we go. It is yours.
Forest is going to activate Buford's division again. Here's their movement. 10 plus 3 is 13. Bell's extended March 1st. He gets a 5, so he's okay. And then we'll do Crosslands. 1, he's okay. I've got 13 movement points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And they're going to stop at the cemetery. Here's the initiative. It's yours.
All right. I think it's probably prudent to activate Cox with Schofield. So here's their movement plus 1. It is 6. So 1, 2, 3. Hello, Mr. Forrest. What would you like to do?
We're going to stand our ground there.
Ooh, we gotta fight. All right. This is a one-turn scenario, eh?
Yeah.
If you do try to move, it'll be your fatigue level 4, and you'd have to go all the way around. So I will not attack. I will be prudent today. Schofield's a little wary, right? So here we go. Here's our next initiative. It's yours.
I'm going to activate Force is going to have to cross on the belt, and they're going to entrench.
Okay. So they'll each get a and I think you can
They each get a fatigue,
right?
And they don't have to extend march,
Nope,
correct?
not at all.
So it gives them an abattis, so they're done, obviously.
Yeah.
But they've also.
But they're sitting there with 4.5, right?
Yeah, so. Right on one of the main highways.
Boo!
Okay. Initiative. Yours.
Let's see how bad the dice rolling can go on this one. We'll activate the 4th Corps again. Here's their movement plus 1. It could go that bad. Now is the moment where I have to declare a force march, and I will declare a force march. As I found out recently that I think you and I had been playing it wrong, where we kind of marched a bit and then you declared a force march at the end of the march. No, you actually have to do it before you expend your first movement point. So that was a nice little correction. But being at fatigue level 2 guarantees that I at least have the capability of doing that before I become disorganized. So we will. All right. So right now I got MP of 3. So let's see what I can add to that. We gotta make some miles here. So Wagner will flip, and here is his force march, and he gets a minimum of 2. So he's at 5 total miles now. He will lose 1 manpower, so we decrease that to 10. And he'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Whitaker now will force march as well. So he will flip. Here's his force march roll. He gets a 4. So that becomes a 3. So he's got 5 or 6 miles he can go. So reduce that. So we'll take him this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And Wood, force marches, flip. Here's his march. So he will lose a manpower. And he gets 5 total as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And finally, Waters, force march. Here's his movement, or force march movement. he gets another 3. So he's got 6 total. He will also lose a manpower. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Eek, eek, yucky. All right, initiative. It is yours.
Forrest is going to activate Jackson's division, Armstrong and Ross. Here's their movement. It's 8, 11. And here is Armstrong's extended march. He's going to flip. And here's Ross's extended march. He's actually okay, but just barely. I have 11 movement points. I think I will move Forrest to them. So they're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And to get to rolling is another 3, right? Yeah, so they can block the Central Alexander Railroad right there.
You, sir, are a monster.
Okay, initiative. It's yours.
We need a line blocker here. So Cox will go to 2. Activated by Schofield. Here's his movement +1. It is 7.
Good.
1, 2, 3. I got 4 remaining.
We'll stand. That wasn't a good spot. You could get within 3 going there. But I'll stand. This is I gotta try to keep that road blocked.
Okay. Well, then we will have some action here on game 1. So we're going to have an attack, a prepared attack. So it is a +1 for prepared, and it is a 5 to 1, so +4 for ratio, and it is a wash on tactical. And you've got 1 artillery, and I've got 3, so artillery is covered. And I believe then that is all. So a +5 Union is what we're looking at there. So
Yep.
Let's see, +5 Union will be on the left and Confederate on the right. And it is an 8 to 2, so +6.
Add 2 units. Yep.
So
It's a 1 DR for
1
me.
DR.
And you get an advance. Done. Done. Got to retreat 4 to 6 hexes. So the first hex has to be further away. He definitely wants to go this way. 1.
1, 2, just 1
Not
more.
sure.
Yeah. Okay. Schofield will not advance.
Nope, I don't get points for that.
Oh, you don't?
Has to be undemoralized.
Oh.
Not that it matters.
Right. All right. So you're hoping the dice gods are unkind to me, but here's the initiative. It is yours.
Okay. Well, all I've got left is Chambers. So take both his brigades to fatigue 1. It's gonna be a 9 plus 2 is 11. Okay. Well, we're gonna swing around Capron or Capron, however you pronounce his name. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Initiative. It's yours.
All right. Well, then we will activate O. Moore. No relation to O. Henry.
You're gonna bring him in, are you?
I'm going to bring him in. So he's got a.
If you haven't done the count, 43 takes you to Columbia.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. You're welcome to double check.
No,
count,
that's all right. I think I'll put him. I'll put him there for now. Make you go around. All right. So he's got his 2 fatigues. Initiative. It is yours.
Too late. So we're going to take Rucker and Biffle to fatigue 2. Let's see what their dice roll is. See what their movement is. 7 plus 2 is a 9. So yes, since we have to accomplish something more exciting, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Initiative. It's yours.
Okay. At this point, O More will activate. And here's his movement. And here's his extended march of +1. And he's okay. And he will just fall back into the readout there. Initiative. It is mine again. Okay. Well, Stanley's got to try to bring in the 4th. And we're going to fatigue level 3. So here's their movement +1. It's 5. Okay, so we're going to have extends for everybody. And failing extends may not be a bad thing here. Stanley will go to Wood. Whitaker will march first. Here's his extended +1. He's okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then Wagner is extended. He loses a manpower. He's going to go 7 on 10. 7 on 10. Let's see. Extended march. 7 on 10. He's going to lose 2 manpower.
2.
Think I'd have it memorized by now. 1. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4. I cannot get any farther. Okay. Wood's extended march +1. He's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Waters, the little guy. Here's his extend. He is going to lose a manpower. So he goes down by 1. And he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Initiative. It's yours.
I'll have to activate Rucker and Biffle again. Taking fatigue 3. Here's their movement. 7 + 2 is a 9. Yeah, we'll do an extended march on Rucker. 5, he's okay. And extended march on, what's his name? Biffle. It's okay. So we're going to go 1 hex to there. Because getting them off the Duck River doesn't help me win the scenario. So I've got really 1 chance here is to somehow beat more. So here we go. Initiative. Mine.
Dun-dun-dun.
So we'll attempt, this will be a divisional assault with Chalmers. They all go to fatigue 4, which this is my last attempt here. Here's the attempt. 5, so it does not come off because he's only a 4.
Okay.
I'll roll initiative, but there's really no point because I'm all at fatigue 4.
Right. I've only got 1 movement left, so let's see how many points you're going to get from the dice on this one. They will go to 4. Ugly, ugly 4. Stanley will activate all of them. Here's their movement.
Oh.
Boo! All right. So Whitaker 1, 2. Extended march is now +2. Not that matters too much, but it's an 8 on less than that, so he's going to lose 2.
Oh, they could. I guess they could pick up some if you get this. No, I don't get points for. I get the same points whether you don't make it.
Right. Yeah. So the rest of them, Wagner, he's fatigue. He also loses manpower, and he can only get to there. And Stanley, again, this is just an exercise in futility. He's also going to lose 1. And he can only get to there. So there. And Waters could evaporate. Waters does evaporate.
Yeah.
So wow.
Pulled apart on the road.
Wow.
Hard marching.
You're going to get points just from the dice there. Okay, so we'll delete him. Actually, we'll just we'll put him off to the side here. That's it. That's all there is to it, I believe, because you have no more units.
Unless you want to move your cav units around, just.
Well, that would, if I were close on points as far as that, then yeah, I would try to score some manpower losses on you. But let's look at the victory point schedule and count it up. So I have one, two, three units that are not within range of Columbia. So that is 9 victory points for you. Look at that. Um, and however, you've got a 1 loss, manpower loss, which brings it down 3, right? Because you're
Yep.
-3. So your final score is 6, which is a Union marginal, if I'm
Oh,
counting that correctly.
yep.
Okay. That, yeah, dice hurt, man. I hate marching scenarios with the Union. It's like, come on, go. Just please, just move. Something more than a 1. You bastards, go. Thoughts before we reset?
I did better than I thought I was going to. Um,
I thought the blocking of the road there was inspired. I didn't expect it, but then in hindsight, when I look at it, I was like, oh yeah, that's absolutely the right move because you had to make me march even farther.
yeah, I wanted to try to, and hopefully not getting my entrenchments built before Cox came up, and I just needed to block it. I needed to move down. Was concerned about a flank, but I should have realized that opened up to you getting within 3 and marching and attacking. I needed you to attack
And fail.
more than 3
Yeah,
hexes
right.
away,
Oh,
and
right, right. Yeah,
hope you failed.
yeah, yeah. I was not going to take the bait on Buford, and I knew that was kind of like what you were hoping I would do, especially when I think I only had 3 left on that march, so I was definitely not going to do it without a prepared.
Yeah,
But yeah, pick your battles, man. That was not the time. So
and then I was kind of like, I lost that 1 manpower, which I was hoping I wasn't. Of course, getting the demoralization took those points off the board.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Okay, well I'm gonna pause it here, and we will reset and switch
Sounds good.
sides. You had a term I recall back when we were playing, and you may have had more than just a few categories, but you said that there are some of these scenarios that what you call chase scenarios, and then I think you said another one is race scenarios. Is that something like that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes sometimes one side's running away, and sometimes it's up to the other side to chase them and catch them. And
right. Yeah, this one is definitely a race, where you're not necessarily
yeah,
after me, but we're racing to get to Columbia. Definitely. Well, we have very quickly finished one playthrough of this, so it's going to be a short night tonight, but that's good. That gives us a lot of we can save our energy for all the stuff to come down the road. Roger and I, of course, now switch sides. I will be playing Forrest and the Confederate cavalry, and I like what you did there, so I too, I think will move Forrest down to Jackson this time.
I'm not moving anybody
Yeah,
like you did. I don't see any reason to move anybody. So,
yeah. I mean, you
uh,
could move Schofield back, but you're already
yeah,
having him move that unit a +1. That's kind of helpful. So, okay. So I get the first initiative. So good luck on the playthrough for the second
good luck to
time.
you, sir.
At the very least, let's get everybody moving there. So Force will activate all the cavalry in range. Take them to 2. And here is their movement now of +3. And it's not great. It's an 8. Well, I guess I'll just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And Buford, 1, 2. Guess he's just got to go there. All right, initiative. It's mine again. So Hellbent for leather. Force activates those 2 again. Here's their movement +3. It is 10. We're going to have extended marches now. I'll do them both. Armstrong first. Armstrong first. He's okay. And Ross. He's alright. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 10. Okay. Initiative. It is yours.
Activate more He's going to go. So he cannot enter a Zoc, correct?
I believe he can stop at the Toll House for cookies.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's going to stop at the toll house, cross the Duck River and stop there.
All right.
Initiative. It's yours.
Buford will activate his 2 units. And here's their march +2. It's 11. Crossland. Let's do this the right way. Since we're teaching people, let me do Bell first. Here's this extended. He's okay. So he will actually move 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Crossland is extended. He's okay. So he can get... he'll just join him. Okay. Initiative. It's mine again. We'll activate Chalmers. Here's their movement. +2. It's 11 as well. Not great roads, but like you did, we'll have to go around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Initiative. It's mine again. Chalmers will take them to 2. Here's their movement. 9.
So my strategy is to use
wear me out. That's right. That is a viable strategy. Yeah. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Initiative. It's yours.
We'll activate Capron or Capron or whatever his name is. It's going to go to T2. Here's his movement. It's a 9. This is extended march. It's a 2. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Initiative. It's mine with a 5. Hatch is going to activate Kuhn and Croxton. Here's their movement, which would be 1 negative +1 since he's a divisional. 6. And here's Kuhn's extended march. He has to flip. And here is Croxton's extended march. And he has to flip as well.
I don't think so. I don't think the Union cavalry have a +1 on their...
Oh, I see. You're seeing the Union plus late and early war March and Union cavalry unit.
Yeah, we are considered late war, so yeah, it's +0 for them. Yep.
And I had 6. So they're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, initiative. It's yours with a tie.
Forrest will activate Armstrong. So just Armstrong there. Here's their movement. It's a 10. Here's their extended march. Okay, he's fine. And Forrest and Armstrong will move into there. Initiative. It is mine again. I'm going to pass for the moment.
Okay. Schofield will activate Cox. Here's his movement. 3. It's a +1 for 4. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Initiative. It's yours.
Chalmers will activate Biffle and Rucker. Here's their movement. So we got an 8. Let's do Biffle's extend first. He's okay. So he'll go 1, 5 to there. And then Rucker's extended. Oh, flips. He will go to there as well. All right. Initiative. It's mine again. We will activate both of them to dig. So they'll go 4, and we'll add an abattis for each. There we go. All right, initiative. It's mine again. I will pass.
Hatch will activate Coon and Croxton again. Here's their movement. 8. Coon's extended march. 5. He's going to lose a manpower. He can go 8 hexes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Croxton's extended march. 3. I think he's a +1, correct?
Yeah, because he's exhausted.
So he's okay. So he can go to 8. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Initiative. It's yours.
Have Bell go to 4, and he'll build an abattis. Okay, initiative. It's mine again. I will pass.
Okay. Let's do this. Stanley is going to activate his entire core. Here's their movement. 1 die +1. 5.
Better than I did.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're all going to follow up behind. Initiative. Yours.
I'll pass.
Same 4 guys. Here's their movement. 1 die +1.
There it is. That's the union we know and love.
Stanley's going to transfer to Wagner. And Wagner is going to declare they're going to do a force march. Here's his force march roll. It's a min 2, so he gets to go 3. No manpower loss. Here's Whitaker. He's going to force march. He's going to flip. There's his roll. 5. He loses a manpower. And he picks up an additional 4, so he gets to go 6. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's Wood. He's going to do a force march. He's a 2. He loses a manpower. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And finally Whitaker, or Waters, I should say. Here's his force march roll. He also loses a manpower. He also can go 4. That was disappointing, to say the least.
I feel it because I've been there too.
Initiative. Mine was a 3. Okay. Yeah, Stanley's going to have to move all his guys again. Here it is, 1 die +1. It's a 4. Whitaker's going to go 1, 2 to there. Oh, Whitaker's extend march, I'm sorry. 4. So he is okay. So here's Wagner's extended march. He is also okay. So he's going to go 1, 2. He has 2 remaining, so he's going to attempt a normal assault on Buford, which is Bell and Crossland.
Hmm.
So you have 1 plus
3.5.
3.5 or 4.5
Right.
against 7. So the ratio is covered. I have 2 guns to your
1.5,
half, so that's
which
going to be a
rounds up
die
to.
roll, I think, for you,
No, it's
right?
rolling, so it's
-1.
-1. Yep.
Artillery is -1. Tactical is going to be a +1. I've got +2 final flank, and there is no creek or anything, so I have a final of a +2.
And then yeah, +2. Right.
Okay, +2 flank Union on the left, and it's a +1 result.
Mm,
Decent me out as well, though.
yep.
So I have 7, and it's a 1D, so I lose a manpower. He's done for the day. The Wood's going to go 1, 2, extended march on Wood. He's okay. 3, 4, and Water's extended march. He gets a +1, so he is going to lose a manpower. He's going to go 1, 2, 3. Initiative. It's yours.
Mm. Well, it looks like I gotta keep Jackson fluid for the moment, so I will pass.
Sure. Going to activate Whitaker to fatigue 4 with Stanley. Here's his movement. It's 4, extended march. It's 1. He's okay. He's just going to make a min move to there. Initiative. It's mine. He obviously doesn't get within 3 hexes, but I wanted to see if I can get some manpower losses on you. So here's an attempt. Stanley's going to attempt a core assault with Wood. Takes him to fatigue 4. Here's the attempt. It's a 5.
So
And
as
okay,
we,
that does happen this
it
time.
does
Yes.
happen, right?
Okay, so you have 4.5 manpower.
Not anymore. Not anymore. After the D,
Oh,
I've got 2. I'm at 2 now.
okay. 5 to 2, so I actually have a ratio of 2.
Yeah, you get a +1.
A +1, and I have a tactical of +1.
And I've got 1.5 cannon, which is like 2, so you don't have that covered. So it's a -1 artillery.
-1 RE. Got 1 +1 type. And I believe now I do have a +4 flank.
I believe you do.
So I've got 4, 5, 6, 7 up and 1 down for +6 final.
That's nice. That'll definitely do something.
I hope. watch this. Watch this go 1-6.
Don't even say it.
Here we go. Union left, and so it's +5 final.
Yeah. So that is gonna get some manpower losses. So that may do what you need to do. +5. I think it's just. Oh, it's a 1 DR. So take 1, which is that's fine because I'm going to wipe out Crossland. So you just take him. So he's gone. Delete. I will give you the victory point for that manpower loss, or the. I'll give you the manpower loss for that. We'll calculate that out. Now Buford. That's not good. Buford has to go away, and he's going to lose something. So he'll go. I'm going to lose 1 no matter what. We can do this. So we can go 1, and then 2 to there. So we're going to lose another manpower for that. 3 to there. He's safe, and then 4 to there. So I will take a second manpower loss. All right. And you may take that hex.
Yeah, we'll take the hex. Initiative. It's yours.
So I have to pass and just kind of see what you're going to do.
Yeah. Let's see if I can push Waters across the borderline. So Stanley is going to activate Waters to fatigue 4. So I got to get 5 or 6, and you can't.
And don't evaporate, right?
Don't evaporate. So here's his movement, and that's not going to do it. Extend March, and it was the opposite of what I needed to have happen.
So we had the same experience with Waters. I love it.
Okay, so initiative. It's yours.
Pass.
Okay, now the question: how do I? 1 fatigue. I've got 3 fatigues to use, and you did a good, smart job of moving Bell over there. Trying to figure out is I've got to get through Chambers and Buford to get up to Columbia to help drive Forrest out of Metzger. So I'm going to activate Croxton with Hatch. Here's their movement. 6, 7. Here's his extended march. He's going to have to flip. Dang it. Hatch is going to transfer to him. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Initiative. It's mine with a 5. Okay, we're going to attempt, I think the way to do this is a core assault or district assault with Schofield. This has to come off. Here's the attempt. It does come off. So the ratio is 11 to 3.5. 3.14.
Okay, yeah, so it is, you get a +2, right?
Yeah, it's a +2 ratio. Artillery, you're going to have 1 times, you have 1.5, and I have 3.
Yeah, so it's 1.5, right?
-1 for artillery.
Right.
I have all the hexes covered, but 1 comes off. So the flank is a final +3. So that's 5, 6, 7 up, and 1 down for a +6 final.
It's going to be ugly.
Okay, here we go. +6 final. +5. That's a 1 DR for you.
It's a 1 DR for me and an extend, or an end action. Luckily, I've got, I think...
You got a retreat path.
I do, because of that wonderful ford there that's going to save my bacon. So we will lose Biffle completely. Goodbye, Biffle. And I will add that to there. And then Chalmers will take the demoralization and the flip. And increase demo. And he's going to go 1 to there, 2 to there, 3 to there. He cannot avoid being eliminated by the normal rules, so I believe he can bypass and go.
Yep,
there.
I agree.
Yep.
Of course, I will advance into the hex.
Schofield has made it.
Initiative. It's yours.
That changes things a bit.
So right now it's 11 points, Confederate marginal victory.
Okay. But I have to hold on to that. That means Moore is going to make a play. Or Schofield attacks Buford. That's possible. But if he starts to move, I can get away. I will pass.
Schofield's going to activate Cox for movement. Here's his movement. Oh, thank
you. Let's see that all-important extended march, though.
Extended march, yeah.
Okay, so he gonna flip, but no matter on that one.
What would Buford like to do?
What would Buford? He'd love to be in Kentucky at the moment, but so I've got a 16% chance of giving you 3 victory points just from that. Wow. So yeah, we will cav retreat. Um, it's a let's see what officially this is. It's a retreat it's cav retreat. It's a very small force of 1/2, so it's a -4. So basically, we'll do nothing to you. So here's the roll. Okay, so it's -4, which is a 2. So you'll lose 1 movement point. He'll go there. He won't take any losses, so he can go there. 2, 3, and then he has to go there. And then for number 5, he can go to that one because it's not in your zone of control. All right, so you may continue on with your
Let's
6
see,
remaining.
I have 6 remaining, and I didn't move at all.
Nope.
So he's going to go 1, 1, 2. This is going to be 3, 4, correct?
Yeah. They are a 1, I think, because yeah, their Ruger's just a 2, so you don't pay the extra because you don't pay for the
Oh, so that's just a 3.
right.
So I have 3. Well, basically means I have 1 shot. Do I take it now?
You
or do I
do.
gamble?
You do because you'll get it.
Yeah, I think I've got to attempt the assault. It's not worth the extra +1, I don't think. So I'm gonna attempt the normal attack on Forest.
Okay.
So you're at a 2. I'm at a 7. So that's 3 to 1. So the ratio is a +2. There is no type. Tactical is even. Artillery, I have 3. You have none. So I have artillery covered. So it's +1 flank.
Yep.
So the final is a +3.
Come on, baby.
So +3. It's 4 to 2.
You got it. Oh, you always get it by 1.
Well, I may have lost a manpower here too. 7. I lose a manpower.
Okay. So you lose 1 manpower. Forrest is forced to flip, so he must retreat away 1. And the second one cannot be in your zone of control, so 2 to there. Wow, and the fort is yours.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to move in.
Yeah.
And that, by my count, that makes our final. Right now, we're at 7 final points.
7 points
For a very marginal victory.
Okay. All right. Well, I got 1 unit left that can do something.
Yeah, you do. And I've got a little infantry cav guy sitting there waiting to get killed.
You see what I see. Okay.
Closing him in, thinking I was going to try to set up a flank if I desperately needed to.
That's right. All right. So go ahead and give us the initiative.
Oh, yeah. I'm think. Oh my God. Well, I got like 1 guy.
It's yours anyway.
I will activate. Idiot. Increase fatigue. Here's his movement.
That devil forest is a coming.
So he gets 5.
Right.
Here's his extended march. Is a 4, so he's actually okay. He's gonna run away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's going to the cotton gin. Initiative. Mine. Yeah, I'll take him to fatigue 4. Here's his movement. 8. Here's his extended march. It's a 5. He will flip. But he gets to go 8. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's running as far away as he can get. Which is not what would happen historically, and I know people are going to complain about that. So anyway. Initiative, which I think will be the end of the game.
I have 1 activation left, so I will activate Ross with Forest. So here's his movement +3. It's 12. All right, the all-important extended march now of just a +1. Oh! Why do you do this to me, dice? Why? All right. So Forrest will transfer to Ross. Move him to the top of the stack here. Let's see what we can do with our 12 movement. We can go. This would have been cooler if it hadn't, but we'll go 3 plus 1 is 4 to there. 5, 6, 7. And we will make a normal attack on Coon. And normal attack on Coon with Ross. So it's just going to be a +1 final because I've got 2 tactical -1 artillery. Is that what you... Oh, and yeah. Yep. 2 up, 1 down. So +1. Is that what
Yeah.
you... Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Very slim chance of scoring a manpower loss. But got to try. So here we go. +1. And no, Forrest fails utterly. And then -2.
Nice.
-2. Yeah, you got my hopes up. So -2, and it is a D. So D and D. And that is a well-fought game. Good job.
Yeah, I should move Couch there on one of those instead of. I forgot.
Well, yeah,
After looking at him, I forgot about him.
You were sitting there moving Cufflin, and I was like, but that's not who I want to go after. So, oh man, what a surprisingly, that second game is just much more intense because you and I are just sitting there and we're scrapping it out. And yeah, this one has a little bit of meat to it for a starter scenario.
It had a lot more. I felt I did a lot better than I thought I would, and I felt you did significantly better than I thought you would.
Well,
the rebels could do.
But you took the time to set up the flanks, and that is the key element to offset my. Because if you look, I mean, two of my losses, I believe, were Zoc to Zoc retreat. So
yeah.
Otherwise, I'd be only down at -3 VP instead of -9. So you got 6 VPs just by forcing me through an evacuation retreat route that I didn't want to go. So good on you on that.
I've been trained by somebody who's really good at the game. So,
oh, well, who is that? I don't
know what his name is. It's
So, final thoughts for this one. I mean, there's like we will always put the disclaimer up that as a one-turn scenario, it's very dice dependent. We are both Roger and I are essentially on the same page, I think, and you can speak otherwise. That if you have a bad string of dice rolls on movement or combat or whatever in a one-turn scenario, there's no coming back from that. You just either you're riding high or riding high in May and. It's just, it is what it is. But this is, I'm really impressed. I like this little scenario. This is definitely the perfect one to say, all right, here, come on in. The water's fine. Try this out. There were so much more nuance in the second game because of, I really credit your ability to just take your time, set up the flanks. You were doing some things that I was not focusing on. I was like, hey, I'd keep the 4th Corps out of there. I'm going to get a boatload of points, but I had to keep my eye on more the whole time.
I made a mistake not moving more into Fort Minty. I did not think you were going to go in there because I thought you were concerned about a flank attack. So he's not going to go in there, and so I'm going to worry about trying to get some guys up first.
Right.
And that was a bad prioritization on my part.
Initial plan was, and I think this is where you and I were playing chicken, and it was a mistake at first when I made it, and then I picked up on it, was I left it open because I wanted more to go in and have Forrest set up the assault on him rather than having the attack and bouncing me out. But in hindsight, you'd be sitting there with a 4 and that readout. So after a while, I snapped out of it and I was like, oh my god, I need to just sit there and let you fight it out with me.
I was worried about, I didn't think about the readout either. And that's something, again, I'm not used to.
Well, while we're here, this is a great learning opportunity for us because that specifically does mention the Union readout, and it talks about it's in the standard rules part section 9. There's a whole section there, readouts in Virginia, and then units and a readout hex. It's the second bullet point. It's like a permanent abatis. It's 1.5 when they're defending. So if Moore had gone in there, he'd be a 6.
Yeah, I
And
should move him in
that's
there for sure.
yeah, that is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, I really think if and that's why I put those guys there, because I wanted to block the railroad line. And then when
Right.
you stopped at the toll house, I figured one of us has to play chicken and go in there. But yeah, I probably should have gone in there and tried to, if the dice rolling had been a little kinder and I didn't have to go all the way around, I would have gotten in there and at least thrown up some abatis. I'll never be able to say it. Abatis. The abatis works. So I like it. It's fun. It's quick. I mean, we just did 2 of them back to back in 1 hour, hour and a half.
Yeah, the first game played faster as they usually do for us because I think we're
feeling it out. We're pulling the levers.
Feeling our way out.
Right.
And the second game, usually much more of a chess match for us because it's like, okay,
very much so.
This didn't work for him.
Right.
This should work. This did work for them. I'm going to do the same thing.
It's all good.
Oh, but wait a minute. He knows I'm going to try this because it worked for him.
Clearly, I will not drink the goblet in front of you. Yeah, no, that's what I love about the rematch games. And if any of you are thinking about skipping the rematches in the future, that's the mental chess match, because we're sitting there going, I need to, yeah.
Well, I'll just say this: I think we took our break 45 minutes in. I think this game took almost twice as long.
It did. I think it did. Yeah, yeah. So, but that's the sign.
Of course, you'll edit it down, and people. That's what I get when people comment on our videos. They're like, guys, there was a 5-minute gap in there where I was thinking about this.
Oh yeah, yeah. I am so honored that people go, you guys play with such briskness and aplomb, and you know exactly what you're doing. I'm like, that's the magic of editing.
No. But I definitely, like I said, as a one-turner, there is some die rolling here, and like if I hadn't gotten a 6 with Schofield, that was crucial.
Oh,
I mean, that's exactly what I need.
Yeah, when you said that, it's like, oh.
But this was a lot more challenging than I thought it was going to be when I was looking at it this afternoon. I did not think the Confederate side had a chance, and both sides they had a good chance of pulling it off.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, it was razor thin there for a while, and I kind of rested on my laurels because, hey, once the 4th Corps is out of commission and you get 12 victory points from that, as long as if you can hold on to and not take manpower losses, but that was the problem. I took the manpower losses. And here's the other, this is my experience kind of passing that on to you, starting with Battle Above the Clouds and Atlanta as ours. That is nothing to be trifled with at all. You have to you have to hold on to those manpower to grim death. I mean, that's a bad analogy, but you cannot.
No, I understand.
When it's 2 to 3, forget it. I mean, you and I were just so it's like whatever. Throwing guys into the trenches on the peninsula, you can get away with that. Sumner can go for a failed attack. But not anymore. The manpower losses are just too precious. So, well, next week, as we wrap up tonight with this, hopefully, we hope you enjoyed it, and we certainly had a great time doing this. But scenario number 2 takes us to the opposite end of the spectrum. We're immediately going to our 7-turn scenario. So I mentioned there's 1 in the mix. We're going to hit it next time. So we will probably do... I assume they're quick scenarios again, but we don't know until we actually kind of look at it and jump in. So next time we will do the first playthrough of the Race for Columbia, and it will be 7 turns from late November 23rd through the 29th. So winter is coming, right? We're gonna get snow and sleet and rain and all kinds of fun stuff. This was an absolute pleasure to play with you again tonight, and we hope you guys are on for the ride as we explore Hood Strikes North.
I think this was a great appetizer. I hope people who are thinking about getting into the great campaigns, it's a great system,
It
and I hope,
is.
and I think this just from this scenario and reading the scenario book, I think if you're, this is going to be a good introduction to the system.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit of everything. You got some infantry movement, you got cavalry, but none of the heavy stuff to slog through. Very straightforward. Move, get there, fight for it, defend it,
Yeah,
all the good stuff. Um, And here at the end, what we will do, of course, every week is we will encourage you not only to take a look at all of the Multiman Publishing resources on their brand spanking new website. You can find other scenarios and resources such as the rule book and things like that. If you haven't even purchased your first one and you just want to take a look at that, the series rules are online, and series version number 1.4 will be shipping here with Hood Strikes North in a few weeks. So take a look at those series rules, and if your head starts spinning, that's okay, because I've got a playlist for you of 5 episodes of Learning the Great Campaigns series. So, as Roger mentioned, that's a great starting point for you guys, and pretty soon you'll be in here playing with us. And we've got a variety of other social media resources online for meeting people and finding opponents, Facebook, Consum World Community, all of those things. So look us up, and we're glad to have you along for the ride. And click that subscribe button while you're here, and give us a thumb, because we want to know you enjoyed it. And I think that's it. I think I've worn myself out over the this first battle of Columbia.
yeah, great fun game.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it.
Well, I can't wait for the rest of them. So have a great week.
Oh, you too. And
Okay.
we'll see you next week.
We'll see you all next week too.